Okay, welcome everyone. This is Todd Travis with Texas Monoline Systems. Today we are going to do a presentation based on a lot of questions that we've had from our investors that are asking questions as they take a look at our various options. And I'm sorry if I haven't gotten back to everyone, but when we put this out on LinkedIn that we had investment options for some of our products, it really went well, and I thank everyone. We will get back with you. Many of the questions were based on our system and based on our business, and well, why is your system better than another system? What does it do? And I wanted to give you some background on what really happened. So in the late 2016, everybody decided they wanted to stop using or they needed to stop using flow pipe, Weco, Chickson's, SPM type 3 and 4 inch iron, because it had limitations and it was very difficult to connect all the 1,000 connections that you have to connect. You have to use hammers. It doesn't last very long, 6 months to a year, and you got to throw it away. And so everybody wanted to go to a 7-inch full bore system from the missile all the way to the frac stack. In addition, they wanted some increased capacities. They wanted to be able to run right up to 15,000 PSI. They wanted to be able to go to 130, 140, 150 barrels a minute. And so when we designed our system, we did not try and design a me-too system. We tried to design a system that was beyond anything that was out there. So I'm going to try and explain those things to you, okay? So here's the standard system as you see it with your candy canes up and down coming from your frac stacks. You've got goat heads. All this iron is good. It's still very much used around the country. And it's good for that 80 to 90 barrel a minute capacity. But it is very labor intensive. It is the source of most people's injuries. You have to have cranes, you have to have man baskets, you have to test the whole system, retighten, and it's just a labor intensive and time consuming system. From above, it looks really, really clean. But if I stand right here and take a picture, this is what you see. If I stand right here and take a picture this way, this is what you see. It is a nightmare to crawl over. It's a hazard. It's the kill zone for the frac fleets. So what we did in our system is we took all of that into account. We worked really, really hard with our customer, and we found that we could accomplish things. It was not easy to accomplish, but we started accomplishing where we could go using what we call bridges over the top, or we could actually go, Cameron here did one. But they started using technology that we already had, rotating flanges as a swivel, but you're swiveling on a ring gasket, which is very dangerous and very it damages the ring gasket, especially when you have any kind of motion. So we tried to get to where we could explain this to people. When you're running through 7-inch, you have a limitation. If you run too hard, you will surpass the 44 feet per second of velocity flow on the outside edge of the flow path. And that will start to eat your metal with any kind of sand in it. Now we have found that sand that is 1 pound sand is worse than 4 pound sand. The reason is that your parabolic flow path, when you look at the bore, is shallower with the lighter fluid than with the heavier fluid. So in other words, 4 pound sand, the very middle of the run may be running at 48 feet per second. the outside's running at 42. Versus when you run a 1 pound sand, the parabolic curve is much shallower, and so the middle may be running at 45 barrels a minute and the outside running at 44. And so that's where that speed with sand gets to wash metal, okay? So we changed our entire system to where we have a 7.32 bore throughout all of our components. The reason we did that is we can get to the 150 barrels a minute if we use sweep technology. So none of our connections are hard 90s. They are all a 9.75 radius sweep. And so that allows no hard turbulence to occur into a cross or a T. And so there were a lot of other things that occurred. In the normal frac missile and 6-port skid system, the first 2 trucks were always being starved and the last 2 trucks were always being starved. So they were putting out 4.8, 4.9 barrels a minute versus the middle trucks were putting out 6, 6.3, 6.4. And that was because the low pressure system, number 1, was not boosted, and number 2, it was undersized. We used to have an 6x4 manifold system to where the outlets going to each one of the trucks was a 4-inch outlet. We now use a 6-inch outlet, and we use a 8-inch or a 10-inch flow pipe, so that now all the trucks run at about the 6 barrels, 6.8. We can even get upwards of 7.5 barrels per minute of flow, and they're not. And we're constantly adjusting so that every truck in the line is pumping at a good pace, and we're not starving any of them. That starving also led to damage within the seats and gates and the fluid end and so forth. So there's lots and lots of improvements that we've done in all of these things. So these are not a standard missile 6-port skid frac system. It is a improved frac system from many standpoints. We're going to stop there for a second.